just want to say it's a real honour for me to be here and to be meeting with all of you. So it's, yeah, for me it's really special. And thank you, Marilise, for introducing me. So Linda and Marilise asked me if I would present something at this meeting, this gathering. And I said, yeah, that's fine, I don't mind, but what? And I think I got chatting to Marilise about it and said, I have this little pop psychology theory about people being like diamonds. And that's where this theme then came from. So I'm going to run through that. And just, yeah, we really are diamonds. And, but I'm going to unpack that a little bit. But to start with, I want to ask, is there anybody here who feels, and I'm going to ask you to put your hands up, okay, I don't want to embarrass you. Excuse me. Is there anybody here who is not critical of at least one thing about themselves? Okay. Well, maybe I should ask it the other way around. Is there anybody here who doesn't feel self-conscious, critical about something about themselves? Okay. And you know, it's quite frightening because actually we all are like that. We all are critical of ourselves. We all feel, you know, whether it's a physical thing or whether it's a personality thing or achievements or whatever it is, we feel we should have been better, we should look a certain way, we should not talk too loud, be more outgoing, you know, I mean, so there are all these completely opposite things that we all carry around in ourselves, and we beat ourselves up for them. And if you look at, you know, where does that come from? Okay, so advertising, and I'm not saying advertising isn't important, I have two son-in-laws, both in advertising, so forgive me. But advertising has a large part to play in that. Has anybody ever seen anybody that looks even close to what Barbie looks like? I haven't, okay. Although I do know of somebody, a woman in the Ukraine years ago, who it was her life goal to look like Barbie. She has had so much work done on her body, and her, well, including her face, because it is part of her body, that her body's falling apart. And yet, that type of picture is put in front of us in terms of that's how you should look. Okay. You see adverts about, you know, do this and you'll be happy. This is the life. You know, we're all made to feel we should be super confident, out there, have it all together, look a certain way, drive a certain car, have a certain job. All of these things are continually bombarding us, and we're often not aware of it because it looks good, but it's bombarding us, and it makes us feel that we fall short, and that's not okay. On the other hand, we do all have struggles, and that does make it difficult as well. So, for example, a lot of people struggle with anxiety. A lot of people struggle with depression. A lot of people struggle with social anxiety, which is a type of anxiety, but so they won't go out. So a lot of women struggle with all of these sorts of things. And do we ever really talk about it? No. We kind of tend to keep it within ourselves because we feel there's something wrong with us. We feel that we fall short. We shouldn't be feeling this way. We shouldn't whatever, and that just adds to us feeling bad about ourselves. And it's really, it's destructive. It really is. So I wanted to start with that, just to kind of almost set the context for my theory as people are like diamonds. But let's first just very quickly, oh, and has Sabiri gone? Okay, well, I'm sad about that because I was going to moan at him. He's taken half my stuff that I was going to say. Anyway, but okay, I'll just repeat it. But let's look at what God says. In Psalms 139:14, it says, I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful. We are fearfully and wonderfully made. And your works are wonderful. Proverbs 3:15, she, it's referring to woman, is more precious than rubies. Nothing you desire can compare with her. Now, rubies were incredibly valuable, were seen to be incredibly valuable then, and one of the most valuable jewels. But women, or should I say rubies, don't match up to women. That's who you are. Clearly we're precious. Okay. Ecclesiastes 3:11, he's made everything beautiful in its time. Proverbs 31:25, she's clothed with strength. Again, remember the she, or hear the she. She's clothed with strength and dignity. She can laugh at the days to come. I think that's so powerful. She can laugh at the days to come. I don't know what that means to you, but to me it means she can have joy, but also she doesn't have to fear the days to come. And then, it also talks about, that verse also talks about resilience. And women are amazingly resilient. We really are like diamonds. Are diamonds actually mentioned in the Bible? 6 times. Okay, that's cool. Okay. The one that's actually most relevant for what I'm going to be saying is from Ezekiel 28:13. You were in Eden, the garden of God. Every precious stone was your covering. Sardius, topaz, and diamonds. Okay. Beryl, onyx, and jasper, sapphires, emerald, and it goes on. So, diamonds are there in the Bible, and I just think that that's quite interesting too. Okay, so if you think about how we continually bombarded about how we should be, how we should look, how we should feel, what we should have, what we should be doing, it's not surprising we struggle with a lot of issues, let's call them. So, this is my theory, okay. As Simpiwe was saying, diamonds are created under great pressure and extreme heat over between 1 and 3.5 billion years. That's what it takes. So that's just remarkable. And at a depth within the Earth of between 150 to 250 kilometers down. That's hectic. I mean, I can't even think about that quite really. It's just amazing. Okay, so here, that's how diamonds are made, under great pressure. Raw diamonds, when they come out of the ground, don't look like much at all. I don't know if any of you have ever seen a raw diamond, but it really doesn't. It looks, I don't know, I would describe it almost like as a bit of old glass, slightly yellowed glass, maybe even sort of dirty. much at all, okay? When you compare that to some of the semi-precious stones, a lot of semi-precious stones look a lot more beautiful than diamonds in their raw state. If you think about rose quartz, you break rose quartz open, and it's beautiful in its raw state. But diamonds have this incredible value, this incredible potential, let's say. And I'm not saying rose quartz and all the other semi-precious stones aren't beautiful, they are, but they don't have the same value. They don't have that same potential as diamonds do. So yeah, they don't look like much at all, and often get overlooked when they're in their raw state. And I often think, my word, when I've been walking around, like at the Orange River, where it goes into the sea. Now we know that there's lots of diamonds that get washed down there, but I often think, oh, did I see a diamond and didn't realise it? Oh dear. So yeah, but they really don't look like much at all. This diamond though gets taken to a diamond cutter. So the raw diamond is like us when we start out, okay? We feel like we don't look like much at all, we don't count for much, but we have incredible value, incredible potential within us. So, and I think this is a life journey, actually. I think this is something that happens through our lives, okay? So the raw diamond gets taken to the diamond cutter. The diamond cutter looks at the diamond, and one of the most difficult parts for diamond cutters is deciding in the beginning how best to use this diamond. And so there are different ways that they do that. And a big part of that is to look to see where the flaws are, and that's really important. There are no flaws down there. So they look to see, and ultimately they're wanting to cut this raw diamond in a way that will bring its potential out, bring its value out, but to make the most of it. So they look at it, and they see where the flaws are, and they have to decide how best to cut this down so that they can hopefully get rid of some of the flaws, okay, the ones that they feel they really do need to get rid of. And there are other things they can do to help with that, but they will also see flaws that they decide to leave in and be able to work with it. And that's where I think the whole diamond analogy really works for us. We all have flaws. We all have struggles. And some of those struggles, actually we do need to try and get rid of. There are some things that are damaging to us. An addiction is a good example. And so we need to try and work through that and move on from that. And that's what God does. So God, I think, is the ultimate diamond cutter. Okay? And He looks into us. And He sees our struggles, He sees our faults, He sees where we go wrong. But he also sees our incredible value, and he really wants to make the most of that. He wants us to be the best that we can be. And so, with God's help, we are able to then try and work on those struggles that we have. And sometimes, yes, we do need to get rid of them. We need to cut that flaw out. But we all diamonds still have flaws. And so we all have those little things that maybe we could improve on. And that's okay. That's okay. God knows that, God sees it, and He's working with that. But it doesn't detract from our value. It doesn't detract from who we are. And so eventually now this diamond is cut. In terms of the diamond cutter has now worked out how to cut this diamond in a way that gets the most out of it. What makes a really good diamond cutter is the diamond cutter who can cut as many facets as possible and works out how best to cut the facets in the diamond. So, and that's really important because, as some people were saying earlier, light gets refracted through the diamond. It gets, I don't know, does that. All right. And that's what makes a diamond sparkle. So if you can cut more facets into a diamond, you'll get more sparkle. And that's what God does with us. He grows us. He builds aspects in us. Even though we've got flaws. Remember, we're still a diamond. We've still got flaws. But He builds these different things in us, these different facets. And so often people will say, oh, I think there's something wrong with me. When I'm with these friends, I'm very jovial and whatever, but then when I'm with these friends, I'm kind of serious and whatever. And I think there's something wrong with me. I think I've got multiple personalities. By the way, that's nowhere near what a multiple personality is, I can assure you. But we kind of think we need to just be this one thing. And no, we don't. Okay. God wants us to be this incredible person. And that means developing all the different aspects of ourselves. And kind of being open to that. So being prepared to maybe risk at times in a good way. And put ourselves out there a little. And God uses that. So then we've got all these facets now, and this diamond sparkles brilliantly. So God works in us and through us. He works in us to help us sometimes just come to terms with our flaws. They're there. So, maybe, I don't know, maybe I'll use myself as an example, it's probably the safest. Okay, I'm short. I am. I'm going to change that. Okay. And so, that's okay. It's okay. So we've all got things about us, okay, so, I'm overweight. So, that's okay. Or too thin, because that's another issue. And these are issues that women in particular struggle with. Okay, I'm too thin. I'll be very real. Okay, my boobs are too small. My boobs are too big. These are things that women carry all the time. And those are not flaws in my opinion. Okay. But just to use my little pop psychology theory, okay, let's say, kind of you think it's a flaw, we feel it's a flaw, okay. It's not a flaw, and we're not going to change it anyway, though. And so it's to learn to incorporate it into you and come to and be at peace with it. So maybe it's like, I'm not an outgoing person. I'm just not. Yes, I will, kind of reach out to people and try and, be more sociable, but ultimately I'm just not a social person. that's okay. I don't have to feel bad about it. So there are all these things, and that God works in us on those things. But I think sometimes, well, not sometimes, I mean, He wants us to just come to peace about that and be okay with it. There are other things, as I said, that do need to be cut out. And that needs work as well. But that's okay. It doesn't mean to say that because there was a flaw that had to cut out, that your value is any less, that you're any less precious, that you're any less beautiful. Because your beauty actually is from within. And there are quite a lot of verses in the Bible about that too. That is where your beauty comes from. So if we go back to the diamond and the refracting light, the diamond's beauty comes from within. It comes from how it's made, and within it, even with those flaws there, and it refracts this light and it sparkles. And we need to be doing that. We need to look at it in terms of that our beauty comes from within, and from the strength that we have, and to sparkle. And I think when you can shift your thinking in that way, in terms of sparkling and sparkling for God, it's amazing, and your value, your potential is immeasurable. And the last thing I wanted to say is that because the flyer that went out said that we are precious and beautiful, which I'm hoping I've kind of covered, and unbreakable. Okay, so diamonds actually are incredibly strong. Okay, diamond can cut diamond. There are not many things that can cut a diamond. But we are human, let's be honest. And I think a lot of us feel we are breakable. And as humans, we are. I can't say we're not. But in God, we are unbreakable. Because with God, we can do anything. And I don't know what for you would be the worst case scenario in terms of being broken. But killed? Well, that's not going to break us. Actually, it just starts our best life. That's not breaking us. So, yes, in our humanness, we are breakable, but in God we're not. And so, we are diamonds, flaws and all, and we need to own it. Thank you. I don't know if there are any questions or any comments, if anybody would like to add anything or ask anything. Well, go and sparkle.